Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world today. My name is Alex Tapia, President and founder of Aviation Retirement Strategies. Today is Thursday, February 6th. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon here in Houston. It's a beautiful day, nice and cool. Wanted to put out a quick video today for everybody because we've been getting some calls about what to do with the profit sharing checks that United Airlines is putting out later on this month, I believe on the 26th, and wanted to maybe clear a couple of things up that you guys have been asking. It's a little bit confusing because these payments are treated a little bit differently than a regular paycheck, and it's important to make the right elections and to take this money in the way that's best for you, and obviously that depends on everybody's specific situation. Just real quick, I'm going to try to summarize it and hopefully clear a couple of things up. If there's any questions, please feel free to call us at any time. We're always available to answer your questions. The elections have to be made by, I believe, midnight this coming Sunday, February 9th. If you don't make the election, you cannot go back and change something. So once the window is closed, it's closed, and you can't change it. So it's important to when you make the election to make the proper one for yourself. Well, basically, we'll start at the top, and United Airlines provides you guys with profit sharing. So every year that United Airlines makes $10 million or more, they allow the employees to participate in the profit, which is a great thing. It's nice to get a little bonus. Last year, United Airlines did very, very well, and so today the employees are going to be participating in the profit that the airline made. The way it works is they take basically everybody that's eligible, and you have to be working at least one full year at United Airlines to be eligible for profit sharing. And what they do is they take all of the profit that they make and they divide it by the eligible yearly earnings. Now, what that is, that's a whole different conversation, but basically they come up with a number and they distribute it proportionally to the amount of wages that each labor group makes combined. So the larger the wage group, like the pilots, for instance, perfect example, their check is going to be a little bit larger than most of the other groups, labor groups, such as the below the wing, above the wing, the flight attendants, all those people, because pilots are usually the group that pays, that gets paid the most money. And your eligible payout, the amount that you're going to get, is based on your eligible earnings for the year, and that's basically your full-time work and basically your paycheck. There's a couple of exemptions or exceptions to that, but basically it's all of your eligible earnings. And collectively, based on what the pilot group has made, I'm talking about just the pilot specifically right now, based on what you guys have made all of last year, all over the year, as opposed to other labor groups, today's or this year's payout for you guys of all of the profit is going to be 7.6724%, which is a pretty substantial amount. What that's going to be as far as your specific paycheck is concerned, that's going to vary for each individual. So you can actually go on to Flying Together, and there's a link there that can guide you to what your actual payout should be if you're eligible for it. But what you have to do is you have to go into the system in order to elect the payout, and it's a one-time election that you make. It does not affect anything else. Like, for instance, if you want to participate in the 401k or contribute to the 401k, the pre-tax or the Roth or the post-tax, it's just a one-time election. It doesn't affect anything else that you're doing throughout the year. It's just for this one-time payment. But what people have really been asking about is, which one should I do? Should I do the pre-tax election? Should I do the post-tax election? Should I do the Roth 401k election? And that's kind of a confusing election. All of them are kind of confusing because there's a lot of rules involved with them. And even more confusing, this payout is treated just a little bit differently because it's going to be a taxable payment. And the first option that you have is to put it into the pre-tax 401k in the pilot's case, the Pilot Retirement Account Plan, or the PRAP. You can go in and make a one-time election. But what's a little bit different about this particular payment is that when you elect to go into pre-tax, unlike your regular paycheck contributions, profit sharing checks are taxed to some degree no matter what you do. So even if it's going to go into the pre-tax 401k portion of the PRAP, this payment is still going to be subject to Social Security, Medicare, and any local and state taxes that are applicable to you based on where you live. So if 100% of your check goes to the 401k, chances are your paycheck is actually going to be a little bit lower because these taxes have to be paid from somewhere. And if all of your money is going to the pre-tax 401k, the only place that it can't come out of is your regular paycheck. So when you make that election, if that's an election that you want to make sure that you understand the fact that your paycheck will probably be a little bit smaller because more taxes are going to be taken out, and that is to satisfy the IRS for the profit sharing check. Now, the other question that we've been getting, should I make Roth 401k contributions? And is that a good thing to do or not? And the answer really to that, it depends. It depends on your income level. It depends obviously on your specific situation. But basically, when you are in the higher tax brackets, like the pilots are, and even the flight attendants, you're kind of up there. When you make an after-tax contribution, which is what a Roth contribution is, what you're doing is you are paying all of the taxes ahead of time before it goes into the plan. Now, why would you do that? Well, the benefit of the Roth 401k is that all the money goes in there, gross tax deferred, and when eventually that you take it out when you retire, if you meet all the conditions, you are able to take all the money that you put in and all of the profit as well, and take it tax-free without any strings attached, which is a great thing. But why would you do that as opposed to doing a pre-tax the pre-tax contributions? Well, in the pre-tax contributions, all of the money goes in pre-tax, meaning that you are at least in this profit sharing check case, you are saving on the federal tax portion, which is the largest portion of the taxes usually. Now, if you're a pilot, you have to think about the fact that you're more than likely these days, especially if you're senior, you're flying the wide bodies, you're making some serious money. You're probably in the higher tax brackets, which is around 37% or so. Now, anytime that you put money into a pre-tax environment, you are saving yourself 37% in federal taxes. Now, that's a pretty large amount. That's a pretty large savings, especially when you're making a lot of money. Now, it will grow tax deferred over time, but when you take it out, all of the profit, the money that you have not yet paid taxes on, and all of the profit is going to be taxed at your ordinary income tax rate. Well, the theory is that when you're in retirement, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket, so essentially you should not have to pay as much in taxes as you would when you're working and making all of this money. Now, when you go into a Roth 401k, if you follow the math, basically what happens is you put in money that's after tax. So if you're putting money that's after tax, basically you're starting at roughly about a 37% deficit if that is your tax bracket, and that is a lot to make up before you actually start making money to start taking advantage of what the actual plan offers. If you're nearing retirement, or if you're getting older and you're about to getting close to, got just a few more years to go, chances are that you're probably not going to make that deficit up, and you're not going to be able to take advantage of the advantages that the Roth 401k offers you. So it really depends on your individual situation. If you're young, it's great to put it in the Roth 401k because chances are you might make up that difference, that deficit in the taxes that you start with. But in terms of contributing on a pre-tax basis, it's kind of a fail-safe, and you are going to make more money because more money is going to go into the plan. And in this world, money makes money, and it's usually more beneficial. But that's not the case always, and that's not the case for everybody. So it's important to think about your specific situation and try to figure out which one you think is best for you. If you're older, more than likely, not always, but more than likely it's going to be better to put it into the pre-tax 401k as opposed to the Roth 401k. When you're younger, maybe not in a higher tax bracket, it may be more beneficial to put it into the Roth 401k because you will have time to make up that difference or the deficit that you start with, because you have to pay taxes on this money before it goes in. Now, the other option is obviously just to take the money. You don't have to do anything for that. You don't have to do anything at all. In fact, you just sit back and do nothing, and eventually on the 26th, you're just going to get a little bit more money. It's going to be treated as regular income, and you just get a paycheck. It's pretty simple. But the question is really, do we do a pre-tax 401k or do we do a Roth 401k? And it really depends on the situation. And the answer usually is, from a financial planning standpoint, if you're making higher, if you're in the higher income tax brackets, it's usually better to do the pre-tax, especially if you're older. If you're younger in the lower tax bracket, it could be more beneficial to do a Roth 401k. But if you have any questions how this specifically applies to your situation, please feel free to give us a call. We're always here ready to answer your questions. And but today I just wanted to clear up basically how some of these things work. But whatever you do, make sure that you go online, that you make your elections if you need to make an election. If you don't make an election once the window closes, you can go back and redo it. Once it's closed, it's closed. So it's important that to not overlook the deadline, which I believe is Sunday the 9th, basically the end of the weekend. So anyway, I hope that cleared a couple of things up. I appreciate you listening. If you have any questions, again, please feel free to give us a call. Hope you have a great rest of your week, and we will be talking to you soon. Thanks a lot.